Seong-jin is sitting alone in his room, watching a video from his fiancée, Yian. Her face fills the screen as she casually announces that she's heading to Germany and calls off their wedding. Apparently, they just aren't a good match anymore, with Seong-jin's coldness being the main issue. She tells him she had planned to tell him in person, but chickened out, choosing to break the news through this video instead. Seong-jin's heart sinks as he watches, the words hitting him like a punch, but a part of him can't help but think, maybe she's just overreacting. After all, Yian can be a bit self-centered. He can't shake the feeling that there's more to this story, and he needs to figure it out for himself. Days roll by, and Seong-jin's life moves on. He's back to conducting music, his mind still heavy with the breakup. When his shift ends, he goes to Yian's place, Yian's mom and his boss. The two of them sit down to discuss Yian's sudden departure. It's been 12 days since she left, but her stuff is still at home. Something doesn't add up, and they both begin to wonder if she's even gone to Germany at all. Maybe she's holed up in some hotel, avoiding the confrontation? But there's a bigger issue. Yian was a part of Seong-jin's music group. With her gone, they need a replacement fast. Seong-jin suggests giving it a few more days, hoping she'll come back. But Yian is firm. A decision needs to be made now, and she's not waiting around. Seong-jin has no choice but to go along with it. Next, he meets Miju, the woman chosen to fill Yian's spot. She's an old-school junior of Yian, and after a quick look at her resume, Seong-jin asks her to show him what she's got. But instead of playing her instrument, Miju nervously tells him that it's broken and hands him a flash drive with a recording of her performance. Then she's out the door, claiming she has some things to take care of. That evening, Seong-jin listens to the recording and can't help but be impressed by Miju's technique and her confident demeanor. He's so moved by her talent that he doesn't waste any time. Without a second thought, he heads straight to her place to offer her a spot in the group. The next morning, Miju joins Seong-jin for her first practice. Afterward, Seong-jin, Yian, and the rest of the group evaluate her performance. A couple of them aren't totally sold on her yet, but Seong-jin is convinced she did great for a beginner on her first day. Things take a turn when Miju's car breaks down after practice. Seong-jin steps in and offers her a ride home, but then, unexpectedly, he takes a sharp turn and heads toward a restaurant instead. Turns out they're both starving. As they dig into their meal, the rain starts pouring outside, setting a cozy, almost intimate vibe. With a glass of wine in hand, the conversation flows naturally between them, relaxed and easy. Later, as Seong-jin sits in his car, feeling the effects of the alcohol, he finds himself thinking back to Miju's practice session. Without thinking twice, he invites her over to his place for more drinks. Miju agrees, and before long, they're at his apartment, sharing another round of drinks. What starts as more conversation gradually leads to a deeper connection between them. The next morning at work, Yian can't shake the feeling that something is off with Yian. She isn't convinced that Yian really ran away. It's just strange. Yian hasn't even used her credit card. That's totally not like her. Seong-jin tries to brush it off, suggesting maybe Yian's just serious about cutting ties with everything, even their wedding. But then Seong-jin gets a message from Miju. It's short, to the point. Forget last night. She calls it a mistake and warns him that things could go south if they keep this up. So she says they need to stop contacting each other, just like that. Still back at home, Seong-jin can't get Miju out of his head. The thoughts keep swirling, and before he knows it, he's dialing her number. When she picks up, he doesn't say a word. Instead, he just plays the piano. Miju remains silent, allowing the music to fill the space between them. This silence leads to another meeting and naturally another intimate moment. The next morning, everything's quiet until Miju, mid-shower, suddenly screams. Seong-jin bolts up, panic setting in. He rushes to the bathroom, asking what's wrong. Miju waves it off, saying the water just got too hot. But Seong-jin's not so sure. The scene shifts to 3 months earlier, when Seong-jin and Yian were finally settling into their new home in Seoul, gearing up for their wedding. At the airport, Seong-jin had no idea that Miju was there too, bringing the keys to the house for the couple. While Miju meant well, Yian wasn't exactly thrilled about her surprise appearance, especially since she had kept it a secret from Seong-jin. The house itself had some history. It used to belong to their old teacher from school, and now Yian had bought it, giving it a new life with a fresh renovation. During the housewarming party, Sungjin found himself in the kitchen, cleaning some glasses. That's when Yian couldn't help but gush about how dependable he was, making sure Sungjin knew he'd won her approval. Later that night, as Suyan and Sungjin lay in bed, they talked about their honeymoon plans. But Sungjin wasn't really present, his mind elsewhere. He stepped outside alone, clearly deep in thought. The next day after practice, Suyan couldn't help but notice Sungjin talking to a female violinist, and jealousy began to stir inside her. She confronted him when they got home, but Sungjin quickly brushed it off, assuring her it was just a casual chat. But that wasn't really the problem. Suyan wasn't jealous, she was frustrated. Sungjin was always cheerful with others, yet he remained distant and cold with all her. Finally, Sungjin opened up about why he'd been so distant. He confessed that he felt like a puppet in Suyan's life, with all the decisions made by her and her family without even consulting him. The next day, Suyan met up with Miju at a cafe. After a few sips of coffee, Suyan couldn't help but share her worries about Sungjin. She'd been feeling the distance between them lately. After a quick chat, Suyan asked Miju for the key to a hidden room in her house. With a mischievous grin, she invited Miju to join her in opening it. When they arrived at the room, it was surprisingly spacious, way bigger than she remembered. The place had been there since their old teacher owned the house, and as kids, they'd snuck in to play whenever they could. It was like stepping back in time. Once they left the room, Suyan filmed the farewell video for Sungjin that you saw at the beginning of the movie. But here's the kicker. It was all part of a prank. Suyan hadn't left the country at all. She had just pretended to see how Sungjin would react. She'd always been kind to him, and the coldness he'd shown lately had her frustrated. This was her way of teaching him a lesson. Her plan was to hide in the secret room for 3 days, bringing enough food to last her. However, Suyan didn't account for one thing: the room had no signal, and she definitely didn't expect how things would spiral out of control. As Sungjin watched her farewell video, Suyan couldn't help but feel a little satisfied at his reaction. But not even a day into her hideout, things took a turn. She tried to leave, only to find the door wouldn't budge. She was stuck. Panic set in as she banged on the door and yelled for Sungjin, but her voice couldn't reach him. Desperate, she searched the room for something to eat and stumbled upon a box of instant noodles. They were old, moldy, and clearly expired, but in her hunger, she didn't care. She carefully cleaned them off and ate them, her only lifeline in the small, suffocating room. Then, just when she thought things couldn't get worse, she saw Miju entering the house. But how did she get in? Sungjin was there. Her heart sank as it hit her. Miju knew exactly where Suyan was, and she had done nothing. It didn't take long for Suyan to figure out the truth. Miju had ill intentions. She'd even dared to enter the house while Sungjin was home. Suyan's suspicions were confirmed when Miju taunted her, asking if she would forgive her in exchange for her freedom. Suyan managed a small signal, her fingers vibrating, giving Miju the go-ahead. But Miju had no intention of making things right. Instead, she did something that would haunt Suyan forever. Helpless, Suyan could only listen as Miju and Sungjin crossed a line that shattered everything she thought she knew. The scene then shows flashback to 7 months earlier when Suyan handed Miju the task of overseeing the renovations at her house. Things were moving along smoothly when one day their old teacher, who had been the house's previous owner, dropped by for a visit. As they walked through the house, memories of the past flooded back. The teacher casually mentioned that she'd always known about Suyan and Miju sneaking into the hidden room. At first, she thought they were just childhood friends having fun. But over time, she realized their bond was something deeper. Fast forward to the present. The renovations were complete and Suyan was finally about to return home. But just when Miju thought she could breathe easy, Suyan called, dropping a bombshell that she was coming home with her fiancé, Sungjin. And now, back in the present, Suyan found herself trapped, unable to move, stuck in her own anguish. From where she stood, helpless, she watched as Miju and Sungjin grew even closer, their stolen moments together hitting her like a punch to the gut. The next day, Miju confronted Suyan again and told her directly that she was going to take Sungjin, his life, his love, and everything. Suyan, furious, had had enough. Without warning, she cranked up the shower temperature, making it scalding hot. Miju screamed as the heat hit her, scrambling to turn off the water. After Miju stormed out, Xiangjin called in a plumber to check the bathroom. The plumber took a look, but couldn't find anything wrong. As he and Xiangjin chatted about the situation, Suyan tried to scream for help again, but nothing. Her voice went unheard. The plumber, though, swore he heard something, just a whisper, like a ghost. He brushed it off, but then the faucet turned on by itself. Panicked, he bolted out of the room, terrified. Meanwhile, Xiangjin was with Yian, who was getting more and more convinced that Suyan had disappeared. She couldn't shake the feeling something was terribly wrong. In a panic, she called the police to report her daughter missing. The authorities launched an official search, starting with the Suyan's home. They needed to figure out if Xiangjin had anything to do with her disappearance. But Xiangjin wasn't acting suspicious. He didn't even know what was really going on. He was cleared of any involvement. Days passed, and Suyan remained locked away, her fate still uncertain, while Xiangjin and Miju carried on like nothing had changed. One day at Miju's house, Xiangjin happened to notice something odd. The password for her door lock was the same as Suyan's birth date. His curiosity got the better of him, so he asked her about it. Miju just shrugged, explaining it was the old owner's password, nothing more. While Xiangjin was at work, Yian dropped by, pointing out something strange in Suyan's farewell video. They replayed it, and that's when they noticed an extra hand reflected in the mirror. It meant Suyan wasn't alone when she recorded it. Xiangjin immediately felt uneasy. After a closer look, he realized it was Miju's hand, identifiable by the bracelet she always wore. His gut told him something was off, but he didn't mention it to Yian yet. He decided to keep it to himself for now. Later, he confronted Miju while she was washing grapes in the kitchen. In a quiet moment, he managed to unlock her phone using Suyan's birth date. Inside, he found messages that completely threw him off that Suyan and Miju had feelings for each other. It was a bombshell, but Xiangjin kept his cool. He asked Miju point blank where Suyan was, but Miju denied everything. That night at home, Xiangjin couldn't shake off the feeling that something was wrong. He heard the faucet turning on and off, and it made him uneasy. Then it hit him. Someone was trying to get his attention. He called out, asking whoever was there to turn the water on again. When the faucet responded, his heart skipped a beat. He asked again, and sure enough, the water came on. His mind raced. Suyan was still in the house. The only problem was that he had no idea where she was. Xiangjin finally snapped back to reality. Suyan was behind the mirror. He'd figured it out. But just as he was about to break it open, something stopped him. A horrible thought hit him. Suyan had seen everything, including his betrayal with Miju. The weight of it all hit him hard. If he freed her now, he wondered what would happen next and whether he could face the consequences. So he hesitated, letting the moment slip away. Instead, Xiangjin went straight to Miju. Now that he knew where Suyan was, there was no hiding the truth. Miju couldn't keep it in anymore and confessed everything. Now, Xiangjin and Miju were at a crossroads. If they let Suyan out, they'd probably end up in jail. But if they left her in there, she might not make it out alive. Back home, Xiangjin tried to figure out what to do. When he met with Yian later, she praised his performance, but there was something off about his face. She could tell he was hiding something. Then she hit him with the question, "Do you know where Suyan is?" Caught off guard, Xiangjin quickly denied it, but Yian wasn't convinced. She pointed out that his entire career and everything he had was thanks to Suyan. Without her, he'd be ruined. Her words were a subtle push for Xiangjin to do whatever it took to get Suyan back. Out of nowhere, Xiangjin's phone buzzed with a missed call from Suyan. At the same time, Miju received a message from her as well. Panic set in as they realized they had a serious problem. Suyan had somehow regained access to a network, which meant their secret could be exposed at any moment. There was no choice now. They had to meet and figure out what to do. When they finally met, Miju hesitated. Could they really free Suyan after everything? But Xiangjin didn't flinch. He made it clear. If Miju didn't unlock the door, he'd go straight to the police. That was all it took. Miju gave in. Meanwhile, at Yian's workplace, something was off. She'd noticed Xiangjin hadn't shown up for work, and with everything that had been going on, she was starting to put the pieces together. Xiangjin and Miju finally managed to unlock that hidden door at home. When they stepped inside, panic hit them. Was Suyan already dead? But then, out of nowhere, Suyan snapped back to life, grabbing Miju in a wild shake, making Miju think she'd lost it completely. In a desperate rush, Miju begged Songjin to just leave Suyeon behind, but he wasn't having any of it. He sided with Suyeon, shoving Miju out of the way like she was nothing. Songjin and Suyeon just walked off, leaving Miju on the floor, completely abandoned. Later on, when Songjin stepped out to grab food for Suyeon, things took a wild twist. This time, Miju found herself locked inside. Suyeon had trapped her. Yep, revenge in full swing. And just like that, everything seemed to go back to normal. Suyeon didn't report anything. Nope, she just went on like nothing ever happened. The next morning, Songjin headed out early for a round of golf, giving Suyeon a sweet kiss before he left. But once he was gone, Suyeon just wiped that kiss right off, like it never happened. A few hours later, Suyeon was getting ready for what looked like a workout, but she had food with her. It turns out she was headed to the secret room where Miju was already waiting. And not just waiting, Miju looked stunning. With that, the story wrapped up, leaving everything hanging in the air. So the moral of the story is, if your girlfriend disappears, don't date her replacement. She might be hiding in your walls, and always test the shower before you scream, or you'll look crazy for no reason.